We ready? Marker, pencil, be honest, right? Here we go. So there are 12 green marbles, 9 red, 7 white in a container. We're talking, what, 28 in total? I'll make note of that. That's my NU, basically. And so please don't overthink it, okay? Sometimes students are like, oh my goodness, everything is perms and comms. Not always, right? So sometimes just as easy as it looks. So probability of randomly selecting a marble that will be red. All you have to do is 9 red ones out of 28. That gets you a mark already if you have that. The other two will give you half a mark each. So this is 0.3214 or 0.32, that's fine. And that's 32.14%. Okay, so half a mark for having done these correctly. Take away a half mark if you did a rounding, if you get the rounding. So if you put 32%, that'd be a half mark deduction for sure. Okay, so the rounding is important. Odds of randomly selecting a green. If it says odds followed by of, that means that the event is going to come first and then not the event is second. Okay, so green we've got 12, and on the other side I'm just going to go 28 minus 12, right? So that give me 12 to 14. No, sorry, 16. My bad. If that is fine. If you reduce it, 4 goes in there 3 times, 4 goes in there 4 times. And that's the simplified, but you don't need to simplify it. What are the odds against randomly selecting a white marble? That means that not white will come first and then white second. Another reminder is that odds, we always state it with the colon, okay? Don't do fractions. If any of your elementary or junior high teachers said, oh, you can do odds as a fraction, please, they're still good teachers. It's technically still all right, but I will never do that because it just completely messes everything up. So please don't write it as a fraction, okay? So white, I start with white first. There's 7 of them, so this must be 21 because combined I get my 28, okay? So you get a mark for that. So what are we at for this? So 4 marks for question 1 if you're keeping track. Probability of rain according to the weather forecast is 30%. What's the probability as a decimal and as a fraction? As a decimal, hopefully you know how to do that one. 30 divided by 100. And as a fraction would be 30 over 100 or 3 over 10. That's fine. Either one is fine. So half and half. The odds in favor of rain. By the way, whenever I'm giving probability as percentage and I want the odds, I turn it into a fraction. I'm going to use this one, 30 to 70, not 100. You lose a mark if you have 100 here. Okay, so you got to make sure, or it's 3 to 7, that's fine. 1 and 1. Okay, so here it got interesting when I looked at some of yours, but that's fine. I know that it is kind of confusing. 15 grade 12s, right? And 11 grade 11. So that's totally not fair. Too many of the same numbers. I should have probably spelled out 11 so you're not mixing it up. The province will probably do band students, dance students, or junior, senior, something like that. You need to make groups of 5, right, with these students. What's the probability that the subgroup will have only grade 12s? It's very specific, right? Specific. Does order matter? You're not arranging, you're not lining up. It doesn't matter who gets chosen first. You just want a groups of 5. So combinations. I hope that's something that you caught. And we want only grade 12s. So that means that my NA, how would NA go? From the 15 grade 12s, I'm going to choose all 5, sorry. Get your act together. It's all the Advil in my system. 15, choose 5. Do I need to do anything else for NA? No. but you could still have these ones showing up there, the grade 11s. You're going to choose none of them. That gives you 3,003. And you in this case, there's no restriction whatsoever. So we combine them and there's 26 in total, right? 26 total. I'm going to write that down here so that when I look back, I can refer to it. So from the 26, just choose 5. 26, choose 5. There we go. And that would give us 65,780 teams or groups. So here's your probability. What's that? Oh, 60. 65,780. I need to slow down, right? I tell you not to make those silly mistakes, and here I am making them all along. Okay, so that is, if you have that, so the way I'm going to treat this is I will give this half a mark each, and you stacking it 1. So you still get a 1 mark for stacking 2 numbers that you worked on. You still get half of this question if you stack the numbers, whatever you ended up doing here, you get a mark for stacking them like this, stating them as a probability. What's the probability of at least one grade 11 in the subgroup? So this is where you need to think of, I'm going to go total minus no grade 11s. What did we just find up here? If you have only grade 12s, that means that this also represents no grade 11s, correct? Okay, so we could do one of 2 things. The probability could be 65,780 minus the 3,003 over 65,780. Okay. Let me just see here. I did it slightly differently on my key. 62,777 over 65,780. Another way you could have done that is turning that into a probability, which is 95.43%. This up here is 4.57%. What do these two add up to? Right? You can tell that it adds up to 100%. I hope you see that. So only grade 12s, which means no 11s. This one has at least one grade 11, so it's everything else. Okay? I don't know who wrote this, but I think more than one of you used this one. And you might wonder, why did that not work? It's because this works if you consider the 26 and you were wondering how many teams can you make using at least one of those students, right? Like at least one. But here we're always making groups of 5. Right? So we're always making groups of 5, so it kind of, this one doesn't work. Yeah. 100 minus this? Yeah, that's fine. So if you went 100% minus whatever you got up here, you get the same answer. Yeah, no problem with that. Okay, next, determine the probability of having more grade 12s. I made that a bonus, right? More grade 12s than 11s. So how in a group of 5 can you have more grade 12s? Well, you need 3 grade 12s or 4 grade 12s or 5 grade 12s. Sorry. Right, so all of these cases will have more grade 12s than grade 11s, correct? What does that tell us when it's or? Add. We're going to have to add those 3 scenarios. Do we have one of these scenarios already? All grade 12s, we've got that already. So I'm going to borrow that from up here. So I now need to figure out these two here. So this is my NA, by the way, figuring out this. So this is going to be, I'm just going to show you, or do you want me to? I think I'm just going to show you this one. So 3 grade 12s, you go from the 15, choose 3. And because you need a group of 5, you still have to resort to the grade 11s, right, to get your remaining 2. Plus, from the grade 12s, you choose 4. You still have to choose 1 from the grade 11s. This one I already did up in A, so I just borrowed that number. These are all grade 12s. So these are my numbers that I add. The denominator we already know. We did 26, choose 5, right? That's all possible groups of 5. So I don't know if you just want to at least write down the final answer. It's supposed to be that, okay? Is this possible on an exam? I would not rule it out, but I bet you they will have made you do a little bit of this work already in A. And by the time you get to B or C, you can just like grab numbers from the top. I would certainly want you to understand that this is what it's calling for, that it's not just one case, that there are several cases. I would say the province usually does 2 cases, like where you have to add 2 most of the time. So if you're into probability, that's more likely to happen than 3 cases, but I wouldn't rule it out. Okay. All right, let's go to the back side. 9 students running for president, vice president, secretary. So positions are mentioned. Abby, Bianca, and Cameron are part of the 9 students. So they're included in the 9. So it's not 9 plus 3, okay? Every student has an equal chance of getting any position. Determine the probability, there it is, probability of Abby, that Abby will be president, Bianca will be VP, and Cameron secretary. NA is this is the easiest NA ever. Okay, if you have the 3 positions, 1 times 1 times 1, right? This is your president, vice president, and secretary. There's just one way for that to happen because they're all specifically placed in each job. If it just asked how many ways can those 3 be selected for these positions, it would be 3, 2, 1. Got it? NU. What's NU? It would be 9, 8, 7, right? Or 9, pick 3. Up here we had 3, 1 pick 1 basically, times 1 pick 1. It's not necessary. I wouldn't bother with that. Okay. So what do we get with 9 pick 3? That's 9, that's 504. So the probability is 1 over 504. So I'm going to tell you again the breakdown. Half for the NA, half for the NU, and a mark for stacking. And if you do that all in one shot, that's fine with me, but I would be wanting you to show me some work there. And I would also strongly recommend, if you have a bunch of stuff going on, either label or clearly indicate your final answer. Don't make us pick it for you because then you will lose at least half a mark. 5 friends, including Dimitra and Ria, are sitting on a bench at the mall. Determine the probability of Dimitra and Ria sitting together. So you've got 2 sitting together, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4 factorial, including this circle, right? So this would be 2 factorial times 4 factorial. This is them sitting together. This is NA, okay? NU would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd just be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 5 factorial, right? So probability is 2 factorial, 4 factorial, 5 factorial. Please don't break this down and try to simplify it. Just use your calculator. This would be 48. This would be 120. So half a mark, 1 full mark for the probability. Probability of Dimitro and Ria not sitting together. I will figure this out here. Okay, when I see a question like that, what's 48 divided by 120? That's 0.4. So I will just go 1 minus 0.4, which is 0.6. That is an acceptable way of stating your final answer. Or you could go 100 minus 40% and just give me 60%, right? Either or is fine. Okay, or if you're still sitting there and be like, I did it differently, sure. I will say if you go 120 minus 48 over 120, that is 72 over 120. Same thing, okay? So all of these are acceptable. State the odds of Dimitro and Ria sitting together. I'm going to use the answer in A. I'm going to take this with me. The probability is 48 over 120. And then I'm going to state that into odds. So 48 times they will be together. 120 minus 48 is the other one where they're not together. So this is them together, them not together. Out of the 120 instances, this is the breakdown of being together and not being together, or side by side. Okay. Next, a box contains the word computer, right? There's cards, I guess, that make up this word. Determine the odds of selecting 2 vowels and 1 consonant. Okay, so in this case, it's odds. So we'll do NA first. If you want 2 vowels, how many vowels are there? 1, 2, 3. 3 vowels. And therefore, 5 consonants. In total, we've got 8 letters. And you're not just picking 1, you're picking 2, right? You want the odds of selecting 2 and 1, like 3 at the time. Okay, so you would go from the vowels, from the 3 choose 2, and from the 5 choose 1, because you want your 3, right? And U, I don't care. I'm just going to go from the 8, I'm going to choose any 3. That's how you get your NU. So you get 15 here, and you get 56 here. Why am I getting A and U? Why am I doing that? I think that's the way to go. You go 15, and then on the other side you go 56 minus 15. So it's 15 to 41. That's your final answer. So how am I going to grade this? I would say you get half a mark if you did the NA, half a mark if you got NU, and a mark for regardless of what happened here. If I see a consistency to make up your odds, I will be okay with that. I'll give you a mark for that. Harja drops 3 quarters. State the probability that at least one of them will have landed on tails. One of them on tails, so I will say this, total minus no tails. That's the idea that I'm going to use here. So that's going to be my NA. Or anybody do the Venn diagram for this? Not Venn diagram. Tree diagram? Yeah. Honestly, if you need to do your tree diagram, guys, I'll have so much scrap paper that day. You can like use up the entire room if you want with your tree diagram. Just do it if you need to do it, okay? So, but basically, total, think of it, there's 3/4, right? So the NU would be, there's 2 options for each coin, so that's 8. And for NA here, we know it's 8 minus, what's the one instance where you have no tails? Heads, heads, heads. How many of those do you have? Just one. So that's 7. Okay, so probability would be 7/8. I don't have the Venn diagram, tree diagram, sorry. So these are all your possible outcomes. This one right here, all 3 landing on heads, this one is no tails. So that's the one instance I subtract, right? From the 8 total outcomes. So 7 possible out of the 8 total. So I'll give you 2 marks. If you get 7 out of 8, however you did that, you get full marks there. So how many marks do we have embedded here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on the back side. 10 on this page we just did. Because we're selecting from a bunch of tiles, we're not arranging them. We're not putting them, like we're not figuring out, like, you know, I think you're going back to when we did chapter 4, how many ways can the letters in the word be arranged? That is permutation. Here we're selecting, we're choosing, taking out. And no order seems to matter. The order doesn't seem to matter here. It's actually a very good question. Okay? My hope is that once we get closer to the exam, we're gonna weed out the crazy ones and kind of just focus. Once you do like 4 exams, you're gonna be like, okay, I think I got it. There's like some camps that they're choosing from, and it's kind of quite obvious what they ask you to do most of the time. Okay, so 10 here, and then the backside has, this is bonus, right? So I will give you a bonus of 2, maximum 2 if you got C right. But let's count the rest. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So this the front is also worth 10, and you can get a possible 2 bonus, obviously. So you could score 12 out of 10 if you got that right. So 10 and 10 makes this worth 20 in total. And again, I'm not going to argue with you if you're off by a bit. Just put a mark down.